America calls itself the land of freedom. But no one warned that freedom ends when your chicken crosses the road, you sleep in shoes, or you lend a vacuum cleaner. These are not just strange quirks. These are real laws that can be enforced. Today, we will reveal 50 strange, funny, and incredible bans in America. America is a huge legal circus, and we are its unwilling performers. Some laws will make you laugh, others will make you question reality. One such law in Denver, Colorado. It is forbidden to lend a vacuum cleaner to a neighbor. Think about that. It's not noise restrictions or vacuum rentals. It is a direct legal ban on a simple act of neighborly help. The origins of the law are unclear, but the vacuum cleaner becomes a contraband item. Want to borrow a cup of sugar? Okay, but if you need a vacuum cleaner to clean up the sugar, you and your neighbor are criminals, and it's better if no one sees. In the second case, in Gainesville, Georgia, it is forbidden. In Gainesville, it is forbidden to eat fried chicken with a fork. This law was passed in 1961 to promote the city as the world capital of poultry farming. Residents take this seriously. A 91-year-old tourist was once arrested for breaking the law. It's brilliant marketing disguised as legislation. This law turns an ordinary meal into an act of civic pride. In Gainesville, using your hands is not just allowed, it's the law. In Arizona, it is illegal to hunt camels. You probably wonder when Arizona had such a problem with wild camels. This law is a relic of the U.S. Camel Corps, an experiment in the 1850s when the military imported camels to transport goods in the desert. When the Civil War began, the project was abandoned and the camels were sold or released into the wild. For several years, wild camels roamed the Southwest. This law is a ghost of that strange episode in American history when camels were part of military strategy. In Quitman, Georgia, a law prohibits a chicken from crossing the road. This law turns the world-famous anecdotal joke into reality. A legally binding decree aimed at farmers was adopted in Quitman. They are required to control their livestock. But the meaning of this is unusual and amusing. In Quitman, the answer to the eternal question, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" is simple and terrifying. The chicken is a hardened criminal violating poultry laws. If you find yourself in Chicago, know this: it is forbidden to be in a burning building. This is not a recommendation, but a city law. The question is, why did it appear? Perhaps someone calmly told the waiter, "The steak is excellent, but could the chef turn down the heat?" The law reflects that hunger is stronger than the survival instinct. In Wisconsin, restaurants cannot serve margarine instead of butter unless the customer explicitly asks for it. This is a consequence of the margarine wars. The dairy lobby in the state of Wisconsin fought to protect butter by banning its replacement with margarine without a special customer request. It's a battle for taste and tradition. Margarine was once a new, cheaper substitute for butter. It was even taxed and forced to be dyed an unattractive pink color. This law reminds us how intense food rivalries can be. In Florida, an amusement park held a strange endurance contest called Steel Lips. The goal was to keep lips on a frozen metal pole as long as possible. Participants stood for hours, their lips seemingly stuck to the icy cylinder while spectators laughed and took photos. The winner received not only frostbite, but also fame. The prize was a seasonal pass and a special plaque attached to the pole to which he was almost frozen. This contest was unusual and memorable. Have you ever wondered what could go wrong if you doze off in a cheese factory? In South Dakota, they've already taken care of that. Sleeping among cheese vats is prohibited by law. The law might be related to workplace safety, but it also conjures a funny image of someone waking up inside a block of cheese, like a dairy Han Solo. Would you take the risk for such a cheese dream? The question remains open, as the consequences could be absurdly dangerous, but very amusing to see. Head to the beautiful coast of New Hampshire, but be careful, as there are also unusual rules and prohibitions there that might surprise tourists. These prohibitions remind us that even in the most beautiful places in the world, strange and unexpected laws can exist, which should be considered during travels. In some places, it is illegal to collect seaweed on the beach at night. During the day, it is allowed, but after sunset, seaweed becomes a prohibited harvest by law. This law is probably related to historical property rights, when coastal landowners had rights to seaweed washed ashore. Seaweed was a valuable fertilizer, and the ban on night collection was introduced to prevent thefts in the dark, under the cover of night. Imagine secret night thefts of seaweed. That sounds like a plot for a movie I would gladly watch. Now imagine you are about to go outside in Carmel, New York, and you notice that your jacket and pants don't match. Don't even think about going out like that, because by law, a man cannot appear in public in a mismatched outfit. Who enforces this rule, and how is mismatching determined? It's hard to say, but the sidewalks of Carmel are a sacred zone of fashion control. I wonder what they would say about your wardrobe today. This law makes you think about style and clothing combinations. In Louisiana, there is a very specific crime: robbing a bank and shooting the cashier with a water pistol. The law doesn't just forbid bank robbery. It specifically highlights the case with a water pistol, providing for a harsher punishment. The law prohibits the use of weapons that look real to avoid fear and intimidation. But it sounds like it was written for a comedic bank robbery in the style of Looney Tunes cartoons. In the state of Washington, it is forbidden to attach a vending machine to an electric pole without permission. This law was enacted to prevent exactly such actions. The question is, who and why would anyone attach vending machines to poles? Perhaps it was someone like a night hero supplying travelers with snacks. The truth will remain a mystery, but the law exists as a silent testimony to a strange fight against an unusual phenomenon. In Minnesota, it is forbidden to cross the state border with a duck on your head. This law targets a strange local tradition. This tradition was unclear, unrelated to animal cruelty or public safety, but only about stopping a strange fashion trend. Minnesota decided that its oddities should remain within the state, not spreading further. In North Carolina, it is forbidden for a bingo game to last more than 5 hours. This surprisingly specific restriction raises questions. It implies the existence of marathon, exhausting bingo sessions that were deemed a threat to public order. One can imagine tired players, shaking markers, and bloodshot eyes desperately waiting for the announcement of number B12 on the 6th hour. The state intervened and said, "Guys, there is a limit to how much pleasure you can get from numbers and cardboard sheets." In Texas, it is illegal to milk someone else's cow. It's a pretty straightforward rule, but the wording makes it special. The law protects not only against milk theft, but also against the act of milking a cow by a stranger without permission. It's a matter of personal boundaries and respect for the owner and their animal. In Utah, it is forbidden not to drink milk. Although it is often said to be a modern law, the situation is much more complicated. It was part of emergency preparedness laws, requiring businesses and restaurants to have milk on hand in case of emergencies. The law in Utah contains a surprising ban. It is forbidden to cause a disaster. The law does not specify what exactly counts as a disaster, leaving it to discretion. If you spill a gallon of milk, there probably won't be any trouble. But if you accidentally reverse the Earth's magnetic field polarity, a law violation is guaranteed. This is a very vague law that forbids really seriously messing things up. It seems made for the biggest mistakes and incidents. In Minnesota, there is a law that is both wise and funny. It is forbidden to tease a skunk. This is not just advice, but a law. The state decided to protect residents from the consequences of teasing skunks. The law recognizes that the smell after teasing is a real public problem. The law aims to prevent the source of the problem, the teasing itself, to avoid unpleasant odors and discomfort for everyone around. In the state of Nevada, there is a law that the text is cut off, continuation not provided, but an interesting local rule can be expected. Technically, it is still prohibited to use X-rays to determine shoe size. This dangerous method was popular in shoe stores from the 30s to the 50s. These devices, called fluoroscopes, irradiated feet to create a glowing image of the bones. With the growing danger of radiation, they were banned in all states. Nevada state law reminds us of a time when we considered irradiating children's feet a small price to pay for perfectly fitting shoes. In Rhode Island, it is forbidden to hold horse races on the highway. The law was created to prevent dangerous street racing. This ban shattered the dream of the movie Fast and Furious, with real racehorses. Imagine two jockeys shouting at each other on the track. In Austin, Texas, it is prohibited to carry wire cutters. This law is related to the city's history as a cattle ranching center. Wire cutters were a necessary tool for cattle rustlers, which was the reason for the adoption of this law in Austin. People try to cut barbed wire to steal someone else's herd. The law is a modern echo of the Wild West. A ban on carrying a master key for 19th century cowboys. Some laws intrude into your personal life. In North Dakota, it is forbidden to fall asleep with your shoes on. Perhaps it was invented by a disgruntled shoemaker, or lawmakers dislike dirt in bed. This is a strange degree of control over the nighttime routine. So tell me, do you take off your shoes before bed? Or would you already be a fugitive here? Believe it or not, Hawaii passed a law prohibiting putting coins in ears. In the year 2000, children started using their heads as slot machines. The state decided enough is enough. I wonder how many children walked around jingling coins before the law came into effect. Would you have tried that? In Idaho, it is illegal to gift a lover a box of chocolates weighing less than 50 pounds. This law has become a symbol of the state's romantic standards and sets an incredibly high and even harmful norm for courting. In California, it is forbidden for a driverless vehicle to exceed 60 miles per hour. The law was created to control runaway cars when the brakes fail. In Arkansas, it is prohibited to mispronounce the state's name. It must be pronounced with a silent ending, like Arkansas, This requirement arose from the 1881 resolution to resolve a dispute between two U.S. senators. It's not just local pride. In Arkansas, the pronunciation of a word can become a violation of the law. Here, a simple phonetic mistake is considered technically illegal. This is one of the few such strange norms in the world. In Florida, skateboarding without a license is prohibited. Although this rule does not apply everywhere, it has been adopted in several cities in the state. Skateboarders must register their boards and show licenses, like cars. This is aimed at combating reckless riding. It seems bureaucracy is trying to control a cultural phenomenon, turning Tony Hawk into a DMV visitor who renews board registration. In Maine, it has been decided that the holiday spirit becomes a public nuisance after January 14th. Violation of this rule carries a fine. The law seems petty, but everyone knows a neighbor who leaves glowing decorations up until March. What about you? Do you take down decorations on December 26th, or secretly leave the lights on to annoy others? In Pennsylvania, singing in the shower is taken seriously. There, singing in the bathroom can be grounds for complaints. This state doesn't just joke about the volume of singing. Singing in the bath can cause complaints and lead to trouble. In the state of Illinois in 1923, a law was passed prohibiting speaking English on its territory. The reason was symbolic and somewhat xenophobic. American was declared the official language of the state to culturally distinguish it from England. This law was unenforceable and was later repealed. Imagine that once the performance of Bohemian Rhapsody was so deafening that lawmakers intervened. It is believed that the dramatic soprano shook the trumpets. In the city of Billings, Montana, there is a city ordinance prohibiting musical bands from performing in bars with alcohol. If even one musician is underage, even if the underage band members only drink water and are on stage, they are not allowed to perform. This law hinders young musicians. The law is well-intentioned to protect minors, but it creates obstacles for the development of young talents' musical careers. Can you imagine someone trying to stay silent while washing to avoid breaking the law? This absurd ban sparked a lot of controversy. Stories of such strange laws show how unusual local rules can be, sometimes funny and ridiculous. Despite the repeal of some such laws, they remain part of cultural heritage and remind us of society's past. In New Jersey, it is forbidden to drink soup noisily. This law is part of public decency rules and regulates table manners. Although you are unlikely to be arrested for noisy soup eating, the rule exists. In Massachusetts, it is forbidden to eat more than 3 sandwiches at funerals. The law limits excessive eating at morning events. In Michigan, it is forbidden to sell cars on Sundays. Many Sunday restrictions have disappeared, but the ban on car sales remains. There is a tradition that is maintained mainly due to habit and a lack of political will to change anything. It condenses all the complexities of buying a car into a 6-day week. In Kansas, it is forbidden to serve wine in teacups. This law originated during Prohibition when alcohol was banned. Some enterprising restaurants quietly served wine in teacups to deceive officials. After the ban was lifted, the law prohibited this trick. The law seems to say, "We know what you did, and we won't let you do it again, even if it's now legal." The law is made out of pure institutional spite. In Pennsylvania, it is forbidden to sleep on a refrigerator outdoors. This law is so specific that it was clearly caused by one legendary case. Someone in Pennsylvania decided that the best place for an outdoor nap would be on top of a Kenmore refrigerator. Authorities disagreed so much that they created a law to prevent it from happening again. You have to respect the strange innovator who made this happen. In South Carolina, it is illegal to keep a horse in a bathtub. Unlike other strange laws, this one has its reasons. In some places, there are laws prohibiting placing animals in bathtubs. This is not related to a specific flood, but is just a general restriction. Apparently, many tried to create spas for their pets. The state was forced to intervene to stop such behavior. This is a classic example of a law that prohibits a very specific and strange action. In Delaware, it is prohibited to sell dog fur. This is a real, though little-known, provision in the state code aimed at protecting consumers from fraud. The law prevents the sale of counterfeit goods, for example, when a coat is passed off as wolf skin, but in reality it is husky fur. Yet this creates an image of a black market with patches of golden retriever and Pomeranian fluff. In Illinois, it is forbidden to give a lit cigar to a dog or cat. This is not just common sense, but a law in the city of Urbana. This animal cruelty law has a strange, almost cartoonish example. It seems that even a cartoon character must follow this rule. The law also implies that giving a pet an unlit cigar may be an illegal gray area. In Oklahoma, it is strictly forbidden to read comics while driving a car. The law does not concern novels or newspapers, but specifically comics such as the adventures of Spider-Man and Batman. The law singles out comics as a particular threat to road safety. This may be related to accidents caused by distraction from unexpected plots in X-Men issues. In Nebraska, there is an unusual requirement for bars. To legally sell beer, there must always be a pot of soup on the stove. This rule turns every tavern into a restaurant. Imagine bartenders pouring mysterious soup to maintain the right to sell beer. In the state of Oregon, it is prohibited to test physical endurance on public roads while driving. This law targets thrill seekers and dangerous stunts. The phrase "test physical endurance" sounds mysterious and dramatic, emphasizing the seriousness of the ban on risky maneuvers on the road. Speeding or dangerous driving is prohibited on Interstate Highway 5. The law forbids using the road as a personal proving ground for testing oneself and the vehicle. This law bans arrogance displayed in attempts to surpass one's limits on public infrastructure. It protects safety and order on the roads. In the state of Mississippi, it is forbidden to teach others what polygamy is. This law originated during a moral panic and prohibits not only the practice, but also information about it. This is an attempt to control an idea by making even explaining its essence illegal. In the state of Wyoming, it is forbidden to photograph rabbits from January to April without official permission. The most plausible explanation is an attempt to limit illegal rabbit hunting during the breeding season. If the law is taken literally, photographing nature becomes a bureaucratic procedure with many permits and rules. Some laws seem illogical and contradictory, causing surprise and questions about their origin and necessity. In the state of Vermont, there is a law prohibiting whistling underwater. No one knows why this became a legislative priority. Perhaps it was a joke taken seriously. Or it could have been Vermont's way of saying, "Don't try to show off there." Have you ever tried to do the impossible just for fun? Can you break the law without even knowing it? In Ohio, Hunting is prohibited on Sundays. This is one of the so-called blue laws with serious impact. Many states have repealed or relaxed such restrictions, but Ohio has kept them. The debate is between religious tradition and hunters, for whom weekends are the only free time. This cultural clash is reflected in hunting regulations. In Texas, the Encyclopedia Britannica is completely banned because of a homemade beer recipe. This law was in effect during the Prohibition era. Texas declared a fundamental source of knowledge contraband because of one inconvenient formula. This is a perfect example of how obsessive and far-reaching censorship can manifest in laws. In California, it is forbidden for animals to mate publicly within 1,500 feet of a school, church, or business. This law really exists in the city of Palo Alto. However, it is unclear how exactly the authorities plan to inform local squirrels and birds about such a restriction. This law tries to impose human standards of public decency on the entire animal kingdom. A noble but essentially futile legislative initiative. Now let's talk about car travel and passengers. In Missouri, it is illegal to ride with a bear in the car unless it is in a cage. Yes, if the bear is in a cage, everything is fine. But if it freely sits on the back seat, adjusts the radio, and licks the windows, you become a criminal. This law is both strange and very specific, but you can imagine how it came about. Who would dare to drive a car with a bear? In Washington, D.C., it is prohibited to post public notices calling a person a coward for refusing a duel challenge. This law is a great example of unusual norms related to duels and honor preserved in modern legislation, a ghost of a bygone era. The law does not prohibit duels themselves. Other laws already regulate that. This law concerns public shaming for cowardice. This is a ban on the 19th century equivalent of publishing a diss track. The law recalls a time when honor was fragile and tempers were hot. Back then, the state regulated insults and taunts to avoid public disgrace. This law is still in force as a reminder of that era. After 50 strange laws that sound like the ramblings of a madman, the main question arises: which one is the most absurd, and which law secretly seems right to you? Perhaps you are on the side of butter. Maybe you think bears should ride in cages. Or maybe you actually believe that chickens crossing the road is a criminal offense. In any case, tell us in the comments which law surprised you the most, and which one you would keep in force. Don't hesitate, because if such laws exist, your words can't seem too strange. And now it's time to deliver the final verdict. Of all 49 laws found, the crown for the most absurd belongs to the ban on mismatched outfits in Carmel, New York. Why? Because it is the perfect symbol of how even in a country obsessed with freedom, you are not free to mix plaid with stripes. Fashion police here are more like real police. And what about you? Which law, in your opinion, deserves the title of the strangest in America? Leave your choice in the comments and don't be afraid to defend it. After all, in this country, having an opinion might already be illegal somewhere. All right, you've waited long enough. It's time to move on to the last one. Moving on to number 50. And believe me, it's worth